Hello, everyone, and welcome back to James Talk Sport. We've had an action-packed opening weekend of the Tour de France with crashes, we've had wins, we've had GC riders losing chunks of time, and then we had the raw emotion of a lovely tribute to Raymond Poulador. So let's delve right into it and take a look at stage 1 and 2 of the Tour de France. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And if you want to make a comment, please do as well. It's really great to support the channel and it's great to make this a little community. So stage 1 took us from Brest to Landernau over 187 kilometers. Main features of this climb were an early battle for the King of the Mountains between Antoni Perez and Ida Schelling, and then a climb up to the finish of 3K at 5.7%. Stage was your typical stage until the climb before the intermediate sprint. Ida Schelling went on the attack early and then dropped his breakaway companions. The green jersey contenders contended for the minor places of the intermediate sprint. Cav, Demar, Sagan, Ewan, Colbrelli were all up, and Matthews were all up there. So the early hierarchy for that was set. With around 50k to go, we saw the first, I guess, stupid moment of the race. A fan was looking to send a message to, I believe, his grandparents and his or her grandparents, and kind of took out the whole race. First, the Jumbo-Visma train, Tony Martin down, Roglic, Wout van Aert down. Roglic seemed to go down hard. There were a lot of UAE riders, but I think Pogačar didn't get caught up in that crash. And ultimately, the first abandonment with Jasha Sütterlin and following on Marc Soler after breaking both elbows but finishing the stage. Obviously, didn't start stage 2. Tao Geoghegan Hart didn't get caught up in the crash either, but in the waiting, his bike broke, lost 5.5 minutes, and I guess his GC potential to shape the GC battle is kind of over and will be fully used as a domestique for Ineos. Then the road they all got back together with about 10k to go. While they were going over some uncategorized climbs, there was another crash, a touch of wheels, and then a lot of the peloton were caught up behind it. Riders that were caught up were Lopez and Porte for the GC battle. Chris Froome was involved as well, and he looked to be in a bad way. And Mark Hirschi was involved in both, and I think the separation of his shoulder happened in the second crash. So again, Pogačar without another teammate for that final climb. The climb itself was dominated by Dakota Quickstep. They drilled it on the front, and with 2.4 to go, Alaphilippe dropped everyone, basically. Wout van Aert didn't follow, so that proves he was working for Roglic. Van der Poel, having just missed that second crash with 10k to go, was well out of position, had to make an early move up in the first few hundred meters of the climb. So it was probably in a little bit of a recovery mode when Alaphilippe attacked. He did try and bridge up and a move from Roglic and Pogačar, but then the group came back together. Alaphilippe won, Roglic and Matthews battled for second, with Matthews taking it and Roglic first. In terms of GC, Carapaz lost 5 seconds, plus bonuses. Same with Lopez, but he lost a minute 49. And Richie Porte was involved in that final crash, and he was 2 minutes 16 down. So early GC riders, as you'd expect at the Tour de France, out of the game. Covered 183.5 kilometers from Perros-Guirec to the Mur de Bretagne. The end of the race featured 2 ascents of the Mur de Bretagne, The first one had bonus seconds on, which I'd completely forgotten about. And the second one was another hilltop finish. The climb itself is 2 kilometers long at 6.9%. Again, similar to the first one, it's steeper at the bottom, and then the final K is much more of a drag. It's pretty much a gun barrel straight road up to the finish, and it looks a fantastic climb to watch the race. Inserted in this part will be some pictures of the race. A friend of mine on Instagram who lives in France called Marie was there on the Mur de Bretagne, and she took some photos now. So let's switch over to that and take a quick look at some of the photos from the Mur de Bretagne. Thank you, Marie, for those photos. I really wish I was out on the roadside as well. This was one of the stages I'd have been at as well, so it's a shame. But thank you so much for letting me share those photos with my audience. The first time up the ascent, it was a big battle to get to the bottom. Different teams on the front. Until a certain Dutchman um, randomly decided to go out on the attack. You guessed it, Mathieu van der Poel. What I completely forgot about the bonus seconds. I thought he was just going for one of his classic ridiculous attacks. But really, no, he was going for the time bonuses at the top of the climb, which in hindsight was a very good result. UAE took control to sort of limit, and then Roglic, Pogačar, Alaphilippe, and Carapaz went for the sprint for the bonus seconds. Van der Poel won. Not Carapaz. Pogačar was second. Roglic was third. So Alaphilippe, most importantly, missed out on any time bonuses there. Ineos Grenadiers then took control with first Dylan van Baarle, then Tao Geoghegan Hart, which firmed up the fact that he's no longer an outsider GC to attack in the mountains. Then Kwiatkowski took them into the climb. After that, though, they kind of struggled. Richie Porte was on the front. As he was setting pace, Geraint Thomas started to lose the wheel. He moved Carapaz in front of him and then slowly went further and further back. Ineos was still in control though for Carapaz, so it looked as though they were setting something up for him. But then Quintana attacked, which was amazing to see. Quintana attacked, Van der Poel reacted, so did everyone else in turn. They came back together. Sonny Colbrelli then attacked, which again, Van der Poel reacted to. He looked behind him, saw Alaphilippe wasn't on his wheel, it was Roglic and Pogačar, and they let him go, obviously, because he's not a GC threat. Van der Poel put in a blistering final 700 meters and took, as we all saw, an incredibly emotional win. As we know, Raymond Poulador, his grandfather, never wore the yellow jersey. They wore the special jerseys yesterday for him, and yesterday, he was a man on a mission to take that yellow jersey. Alaphilippe was probably spent from the previous day, and Roglic, Pogačar, and Wilco Kelderman, who's made a good start to the race, fought out for second and third. Pogačar moving in 1 second ahead of Roglic, so they seem to be the best two, as we've seen. I'll talk about that more in a second. The biggest losers of the day were Thomas and Lopez. They lost 23 seconds to Van der Poel, around 15 to the main group of GC riders. Yeah, what can we say? It was an emotional win. I think most people would have been happy for that. I think I'd like to think everyone was. So that's the roundup of the stages. Let's take a quick look now at the current standings and the GC winners and losers. So the bigger picture is obviously the battle for the Maillot Jaune in Paris. In that, it's clear that there's two riders ahead of the rest. That's Roglic and Pogacar. However, they do seem to be very concerned about each other and only concerned about each other. They don't want to help each other get to the finishes so far, and there have been finishes that have suited them both. So it's interesting that they haven't gone for it yet. So that could later in the race give opportunities to the likes of Carapaz, Gaudu, Mas, Kelderman, Uran, Higuita, and the others that are all within that sort of 10 to 15 seconds behind them. Obviously, that will change on stage 5 in the TT. The biggest losers, obviously, are Tao and Port, but they were always sort of secondary for Ineos. Thomas losing 23 seconds was a surprise and a concern for Ineos yesterday. Lopez is obviously now probably playing second fiddle to Enric Mas, but that does create a good tactical play. So at the moment, Roglic and Pogacar are the top two. Kelderman is slightly behind them, but slightly ahead of the likes of Gaudu, Uran, Carapaz, Mas, and co. While Lopez and Thomas are probably going to be, well, Thomas will gain time again in the TT. Lopez will be losing time and out the back and ready to attack in the mountains. So it's already shaped up the GC stage races. Looking ahead to the next couple of days, stage 3 will be a rolly stage to Pontivy, but finish in a group sprint. And stage 4 is the flattest day of the race so far, finishing in Forgeras. And that again is going to finish in a sprint. So you'll see the likes of Philipsen and Merlier for Alpecin, Cav for Quickstep, Ewan, Demar for FDJ, and their strong lead out. So GC hierarchy is sort of gone into play, but now the next 2 days are focusing on the battle for the state sprints and the early plays for the sprinters' green jersey. So another 2 great days to look forward to. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to sharing with you some other thoughts and hopefully pictures of the stages as well. See you soon.